Hi everyone! So as you may know from either following me on Instagram at Anne's Family Recipe, where I've been posting tons of photos, or from my road trip snack food haul, I have been in Tennessee with my family for the past week and we just got home. So I just wanted to kind of share with you a little snippet into our vacation. Now, I am not a seasoned vlogger by any means, and it was a total challenge for me to remember in the first place to pull up my camera, but when I did, to get decent footage. So I have some clips in here and there that I'm gonna kind of splice in, but I thought I would just sit down and share with you a little bit about our trip too, because I know I missed a lot. It's tough. I have 4 kids, 7 and under. So with little kids, I just wanted to kind of be present, be in the moment, and also they needed my attention a lot of the time. So my first priority was not getting the camera and getting all the glamour shots of everything I ate. But I enjoyed a lot of good food and we did a lot of fun things, so I thought I would share it with you. First of all, just for fun, in case you want to hear about it, and also in case you're considering traveling to Tennessee. We went to the Smoky Mountains, we were in the city of Gatlinburg, and then we drove west and spent an afternoon in Knoxville, Tennessee, and then we spent the end of our trip in Nashville, and we had an amazing time. The first place I wanted to talk about really quick is this restaurant in West Virginia that we stopped at. It was about halfway through our trip down to Gatlinburg. It's called the Secret Sandwich Society, and it was recommended by a Pittsburgh legend, Rick Seaback. He is a connoisseur of many things, one of them being good food. This restaurant had a long wait, which was unfortunate because we were in the middle of a really long drive. It was going to be about a 7.5-hour trip, but with our stop at the restaurant, it ended up being about a 10-hour trip because we had to wait an hour to eat, and then it took a while to get our food, but the food was really incredible. So in retrospect, I would have called ahead and ordered takeout because they have this beautiful lawn with picnic tables and a gazebo, so we could have had our food as soon as we got there and then just eaten at the picnic tables in the beautiful weather. My favorite 2 things were the pimento cheese fries and my husband's meal, which was a velvet burger, which was a really, really delicious hamburger. It was like grilled to perfection. It was so juicy. On top was French onion dip, balsamic grilled onions, and Swiss cheese. And I feel like there was something else too, but it was so good. It was really savory and juicy and just, ooh, so yummy. Probably our favorite day of the whole trip was Father's Day. We spent the entire day doing tons of activities. We didn't want to be like go, go, go the whole trip, but that Sunday we did a lot and everything we did was amazing. So we started off in the morning with a family hike. Okay, I take that back. That wasn't super amazing just because one child, whom I shall not name, cried the entire time. I think he needed a nap, so that made it a little bit stressful, but the hike itself was really, really nice. Very good for younger children. It was like less than a mile to Cataract Falls. The path was kind of paved out for you. It wasn't technically paved the whole way, but there were like barriers along the side, so it was a well-traversed path. Tons of people were there. It was right next door to the Gatlinburg Visitor Center. I just thought that was really nice for having a young family. We didn't want to get too off the beaten path. Although that is one reason why I would definitely want to visit Gatlinburg again, is because we weren't out in nature like on the trails too much. We did a bunch of other things just because we had little kids. They just didn't have the kind of energy that you would need to expend like doing an 8-mile hike to get to a beautiful vista or something like that. But we went to Cataract Falls, which was a beautiful waterfall, and the kids really enjoyed it. The night before, I had actually seen a black bear about 2 blocks away when I was walking to grab us some dinner. It was like the night we arrived, and we just picked up some salads. They were fine, nothing to elaborate upon. But as I was walking, I saw a black bear, which was awesome and terrifying. So the whole hike the next morning, I was like kind of looking over my shoulder the entire time, thinking that we could potentially get eaten. But there were tons of people there, and from what we had read online, as long as you make noise, you know, they're not gonna be like, they're not gonna come after you, they're just gonna kind of shy away from that. The funny thing is that in my hometown, while I was in Gatlinburg, this is like, where I live is a suburb about a half an hour outside of the city of Pittsburgh, there was a black bear sighting. So I didn't even need to leave home to see a black bear. Who knew? So we had lunch at a restaurant called the Smoky Mountain Brewery. The one thing that I would like to highlight from that restaurant is their wings. They had a sauce, I wrote it down here. It's called their Thunder Road sauce. And Not too many of you will know this reference, but there was a bar that I went to right in Oakland, which is where the University of Pittsburgh's campus is. It was called Peter's Pub, and it has recently closed and reopened as a new bar, but they had these wings there called kitchen sink wings, which is kind of a combination of all the different sauces they had there, and they were so delicious. And this sauce at the Smoky Mountain Brewery reminded me so much of that sauce, so I was really, really excited to try those wings. Otherwise, the food was fine. Also on Father's Day, we went to the Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies, which I thought was going to be super hokey and overhyped and a total waste of money. To be fair, it was quite expensive, but it was amazing. It was by far the best aquarium I've ever been to in my life. I'll definitely show you some footage from it because there were just so many amazing exhibits. My favorite part, there was this really slow moving walkway and you were underneath, like going through a glass tunnel basically of the whole shark pool that they had there. It was really, really neat. They also had an amazing stingray exhibit and trying to think, oh, and they had like indoor playgrounds too, which was fun for the kids just to kind of run around and blow off a little bit of energy in an air-conditioned setting, because the whole time we were on our trip, it was in the high 80s, low 90s, so it was very, very hot. One of my favorite things we did on our entire trip was ride the brand new Sky Lift, which is like a ski lift, all the way up the side of a mountain to the Sky Bridge, which is this brand new, it just opened this year, suspension bridge. It's the longest pedestrian suspension bridge in North America. It was kind of terrifying. We decided not to carry the baby across. When I rode up the ski lift, I had the baby strapped to me in a carrier, which is what they recommended, because it was kind of just sort of open air with a little bar over the front of you. I had my arm around my daughter and I had my other arm around my baby who was strapped to my body. But honestly, it was a very, very steep climb, but you weren't that far off the ground going the whole way up the mountain. And then when you got to the top, there were a couple different tiers with rocking chairs and there was live music. There was a father and son, like a banjo guitar duo, and they were singing country songs. And you could just sit and relax. I didn't go in, but there was a building there, so I'm assuming they had a gift shop, kind of like a visitor center, and then you could walk across the suspension bridge. So my husband went with my older two sons, with Jack and Ben, and then I went when he came back with Jack and Emma. And Jack and Emma both were brave enough. There were like 3 glass panels right in the middle of the bridge where you could see through to the bottom, and they both laid down on top of them and I took their picture. I was really proud of them. They were super brave because the bridge was swaying back and forth the whole time. The whole time I was just like, stay in the middle, don't go near the edge. I was kind of panicking, but we did it. We went all the way across and all the way back. I was very proud of myself. And having really young children, even if you didn't go across the bridge, once you buy the pass to the Skylift, which was also ridiculously expensive, but I felt like it was worth it because having the young children, we just couldn't do a long enough hike where we would reach a beautiful vista. You know, we were kind of just on the ground level going through the woods, maybe a slight incline, but we weren't really gonna see a grand like panoramic view of the Smoky Mountains unless we did something like the Skylift. So even though, like, if you didn't want to do the bridge, that would be fine. I think it would still be worth it just to relax for an hour and look at this beautiful view of the Smoky Mountains. That night we had dinner at a restaurant called Calhoun's, which was actually affiliated with the Smoky Mountain Brewery because their menus were very, very similar. There were a few different items on there, but the one thing I wanted to highlight from that restaurant, which is so silly, but it's their bread basket. I love when there's a bread basket with all different kinds of things in it, and this one had really good biscuits. I ate a lot of good biscuits on this trip, which I'm very, very thankful for. And they had kind of like a savory corn muffin, and they had these sweet cinnamon corn muffins. It was really, really good. So the next day in Gatlinburg, we went to Dollywood Amusement Park. It was not the best experience we could have had. By the time we got there, it was like 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning. It's open from 10 to 8, which isn't actually that long when you have a big family and a lot to do. But it was like 90 degrees by the time we got there. Our kids were kind of tired, so we did as many kiddie rides as we could. And then we had a sit-down lunch at the Front Porch Inn, which I had read an article in Food and Wine magazine about the meatloaf there, so I had to try it, and it was phenomenal. Best meatloaf of my life. I really want to try to recreate it. It had like a little bit of bell pepper in it, and it had a really nice tomato glaze over top, but it also had gravy over the fluffy mashed potatoes. It was just so good, and it was served with a side of fresh green beans. Oh, and speaking of biscuits, these this restaurant, the Front Porch Inn, had some of the best biscuits we had on our trip. They reminded me of the Red Lobster cheddar biscuits, but like a step up. They were really, really tasty. Another food item that I had to try at Dollywood was the cinnamon pull-apart bread. There's a grist mill on the property, and there's a bakery inside. It was the best smelling. I told the lady at the counter, I was like, this is the best smelling job you could possibly ever have. It just smelled like cinnamon sugar in there. So you just buy the bread, and then it comes, you can either get a little container of glaze or a little container of apple butter, which is what I got. So we got this fresh, too hot, to be honest. It was too hot to handle at first. My husband kind of burned his fingers and was a little bit upset about that, but we were finally able to dig into our bread and then dunk it into the apple butter, and that was totally worth it. So unfortunately, we got rained out the second half of our day at Dollywood, but the kids were tired by that point anyway, so we just kind of went home and relaxed. And we did have one more really good meal in Gatlinburg at Bennett's BBQ. That was my favorite meal that we had there. I had a brisket sandwich, which was really good. They had a bunch of different kind of barbecue sauces you could try. I enjoyed their honey mustard sauce the best. And then I got 2 different side dishes. I think I got a spicy mac and cheese, and then their baked beans were really, really good. And that was the first place where I had sweet tea. And then I had sweet tea with every meal after that because I was hooked. Next, we drove all the way to Nashville with a pit stop in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we just spent a couple of hours there. We parked our car. We had a great parking spot right in downtown by Market Square, and we had a delicious lunch at Tupelo Honey Cafe. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they gave you this huge plate of biscuits to start with their famous honey and some blueberry compote. Those were really yummy. And then I had this grilled chicken sandwich with avocado and pickled onions and mayo, and I want to say maybe bacon or something. It was really, really delicious. And then a really fresh side salad with homemade garlic buttermilk ranch, which I loved. And of course, another glass of sweet tea. Do you hear these ridiculously loud birds? We walked around for about an hour downtown. We saw the Sun Sphere, which is kind of an iconic landmark from a World's Fair a few decades ago. We also saw the world's largest Rubik's Cube, which was in the hotel lobby of a Holiday Inn, kind of right in that area. I had read about it online. We stopped into this really cute little store called Nothing Too Fancy, and they had all these vintage-inspired t-shirts that they make there. So I bought one. I'll show that to you later. But I really like that store. I thought I would share that. And then lastly, we stopped at Cruz Farm. Creamery, I guess. They have another location that's a barn/restaurant where they do pizzas and ice cream. So this was just a little ice cream shop downtown, but they had several different flavors of really, really good soft serve. I tried the lavender honey, which was good, although it wasn't the best lavender ice cream I've ever had. That was actually in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, where my sister lives. It was a little bit soapy tasting. Sometimes if you use too much lavender, it's not like a light floral taste. It actually has a soapy taste to it, but it was still really good, and it's fun to try something unique. But my husband's ice cream was absolutely the best. They don't actually do a regular vanilla there. They have a sugar-free, dairy-free vanilla, but their kind of vanilla flavor is sweet cream, which I'm assuming means there actually isn't any vanilla in it, but it tasted like whipped cream flavored ice cream. It was absolutely delicious. So that night we arrived in Nashville. It was late. We showed up at Hattie B's Hot Chicken because we really wanted a fried chicken sandwich, and the wait was really long. And I noticed the girls in front of me placing their order online, and I was like, that is brilliant.
United States.
It does look like the United States. So what did you guys get to eat?
Chicken sandwiches with french fries.
Oh, fine, honey. Chicken sandwiches with french fries. You like it, Ben? What are you eating?
I ordered my water. French fries.
Is it good?
It is my favorite meal.
That's your favorite meal, just french fries? Yeah. I mixed half sweet tea and lemonade. We got a banana pudding. I got a chicken sandwich. I'm a wimp, so I got Southern style, which means no heat at all. Although I will say my husband got the mild, and he said it definitely has a kick. So I'm glad I just went Southern style. This is their comeback, or what's it called? No comeback? It's their special sauce. I got mine on the side because I wasn't sure if it was spicy or not. And then they accidentally gave me coleslaw instead of potato salad, so I have 2 coleslaws, but that's okay. It's still really good. And my husband got pimento mac and cheese too, so we're having a feast. So just a couple of highlights. We hit the Country Music Hall of Fame while we were there, and we walked around downtown Nashville for a little bit. We saw all the honky tonks on Broadway, which even in the middle of the afternoon wasn't super appropriate for young children, just a heads up. And we walked across the pedestrian bridge, which is right downtown, which was awesome because we got a lot of great views of the stadiums and just all the different buildings downtown. Some of the food we tried, we had Martin's Barbecue, which was really good. I loved their baked beans and their broccoli salad. That's what I had on the side. The barbecue was good. I'm I make pretty good pulled pork at home, so I felt like I could have recreated that at home. They have a really good, very thin barbecue sauce at all the tables. It's sweet and tangy, which is my favorite kind. And this one was a little bit spicy too, so I really like that. I kind of doused all the pulled pork that I got in the sauce, and that made it really, really tasty. We also stopped at the Goo Goo Shop, which is home of the Goo Goo Cluster candy. These are the Goo Goo Clusters out of their wrappers, and this is my hand, so they're actually quite small. So everybody's gonna reach in and grab one little bite. What are you gonna try, Jack?
I'm gonna try original butter.
Oh, you wanna try all of them? Okay, well just take one to start. You gonna try original to start?
Yes.
Okay. Grab a peanut butter, Ben. I'm gonna try what you want. What did you choose, original? What do you think? Is it good? Is it chewy?
It's really chewy.
Yeah? You like it?
Peanut butter on my shirt.
Oh, okay. Okay, good or great?
Great.
Great?
Marvelous.
Oh, very good. I'm gonna try the peanut butter one. Kind of tastes like a Reese's with peanuts in it. But I love Reese's, so nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna try a pecan. So that one has the marshmallow and the caramel. That's really good. If you watch my road trip snack food haul, you can see what remains behind me. Not a lot. Those are just almost completely empty boxes of Cheez-Its back there. You gonna try some more? All right, and then I'm going to try the original. It's good. I think I like the pecans better than the peanuts, actually. Kind of like an old-timey candy. What does it taste like? Snickers? They're not bad. I think I like the pecan the best. I like the peanut butter one too because it basically just tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup. And that is my official Goo Goo Cluster review. One of the nights we just grabbed a pizza and ate it in our hotel room because it was late and we were tired and it just was easy with the kids. We went to Biscuit Love, which was a very interesting concept. It was a fast casual restaurant, which I didn't know going into it, but it was great because it made things really fast. You just order off the menu at the counter and then they bring it to your table. Really easy. The biscuits there were not that great, to be honest, but my husband and I shared a sandwich. I think it was called the East Nasty, but it was a fried chicken sandwich on a huge biscuit. There was too much biscuit, but it had the best sausage gravy poured all over top that I've ever had in my life. I would go back just to eat that gravy. And then, oh, the other thing that we had that was really good, they were called Bonuts, which is a combination of biscuits and donuts. So they were little fried balls of biscuit dough covered in cinnamon sugar, and they were topped with a lemon mascarpone cream. And then they were on this like bed of blueberry compote, and those were awesome. I'm definitely gonna try and recreate those in my kitchen, so stay tuned for that. We went to the Loveless Cafe, which is very famous for their biscuits, and rightfully so, because they were absolutely the best biscuits I know I will ever eat in my whole life. I had almost our table's entire plate. I bet I had like 7 or 8 biscuits. Not only because they were amazing biscuits, but I also love butter and jelly. Anything that is like a vehicle to get butter and jelly into my body, other than just eating it alone on a spoon, which is probably frowned upon by some. Certainly not me, but by some, I'm sure. I was all about it. So they served their big plate of biscuits. Like every breakfast came with the biscuits. So it had peach preserves, strawberry, and blackberry preserves. The blackberry was definitely my favorite. I also ordered a meal. I got some fried eggs and some country ham, which I didn't really care for, but I really wanted to try it because it was kind of a quintessential Southern breakfast staple. It was just so salty. And then I had red eye gravy, which is just a very thin liquid. It's just like a basic gravy, but it's coffee based, and that was fine. And I got hash brown potatoes too, which were good, but if I'm being totally honest, I like the ones at Cracker Barrel better. But biscuits were the best. They were totally worth it because it was about a 20-minute drive outside of the city. But what was really nice about the drive is that it was beautiful. So that was kind of part of our experience of sightseeing because of course, our GPS took us one way getting there and then a totally different way coming back. But coming back, we drove through Belle Meade, which there's an historic mansion there, I'm pretty sure, and the scenery was just so, so beautiful. So that was a nice part of the experience too. And I went to the gift shop, which is called Hams and Jams, I'm pretty sure. They have a couple gift shops on the property of the Loveless Cafe and Motel, and I got a bunch of stuff, so I'll share that with you at the end of the video. We went to Five Daughters Bakery, which is renowned for their 100-layer croissant donuts, so the cronut. They do have yeast-raised donuts there, but what you want to get are these, it's like a circular croissant. They're very moist and they're covered in like sugary cinnamon coating on the outside. And then my favorite was the vanilla cream. It was topped with this just really dense, buttery, sweet, but also a little salty cream. Then it also had cream, like there was kind of a trench on the inside of the cronut. So it was like the cream seeped down inside of it. It was one of the best food experiences of my life. So this is gonna sound silly, but the donuts were $4.50 each, which is ridiculous. But after my heartbreaking and terrible experience at Dough Donuts in New York City last summer, where the donuts were $3.50 a piece, and I took one bite and threw it away because it had no flavor and was stale. This was like my redemption donut, and it was amazing. So beyond the vanilla cream, we also tried maple cream, and I think one was called Strawberry Fields, which I overheard the lady who worked there saying that it was a combination of strawberry and rose, which was intriguing. That was very tasty. The maple one had cream inside, which was a total surprise, but an amazing surprise. And then lastly, sorry, there's bugs out here. Lastly, what did we try? Oh, my daughter really wanted one with chocolate frosting and sprinkles, and that was good too because it was like this really rich chocolate ganache on top. So it just had kind of a gourmet touch to it, and oh, it was so worth it. Mas Tacos Por Favor was a restaurant that I found on Facebook, and you know how it says like your friend likes this place? Well, my friend Dave was just randomly popped up on the webpage for Mas Tacos on Facebook, and I was like, I texted him, I said, Dave, have you been here before? And he said, yes, and it is an absolute must. So I put it on my list, and this was one of our favorite meals on the entire trip. They have these super fresh, very authentic tacos. We tried pulled pork, chicken, fried avocado, and my husband had the spicy ground beef, which he said was so spicy he wouldn't get it again. It tasted really good, but he was in pain after eating it, so I'm glad I didn't try that. We also tried their grilled corn. I think it's called elote, but it has like cheese all over it, and then they also sprinkle spices on it, which were very spicy too. So we went back and got more corn just without the spices on it. So good though. And we tried, they always have a different flavor of agua fresca. So we got pineapple cilantro agua fresca and horchata, which is a rice and almond milk drink with cinnamon in it. That was really tasty. To be honest, the drinks unto themselves were kind of like okay, but they really paired well with the tacos. I was very thankful to have like a cool, creamy, sweet drink to eat with the tacos. So everything went so well together, and they were just absolutely phenomenal. My favorite taco was the chicken one. It had this incredible homemade salsa verde on it. I've never made salsa verde. I just buy jars of it at the store, but it makes me want to try to make my own because it was just absolutely delicious. Oh, I'm salivating just thinking about it. It was really good. Now this restaurant was in East Nashville, so this was another place where we had to drive a little bit of a ways, like maybe 15 or 20 minutes. But it was fun because there's a lot of murals in East Nashville, so we kind of got to see some of those as we were driving. So on our last night in Nashville, we had so much fun. We went to what was called Pickin' on the Plaza at the Ryman Auditorium, which is a very famous venue in downtown. And I had read about this in advance. I knew we weren't going to take our kids, who are very little, to like a sit-down ticketed concert in the evening close to their bedtime. This was the next best thing. It was a 1-hour free bluegrass concert right on the main plaza outside of the auditorium. It was a beautiful night. The band playing was called Almanac Ridge. You have to look them up. They were so fun, really energetic, and just absolutely talented. It was really a great night.
I don't want to work on that railroad. I ain't gonna work on that farm.
And then we went to Mike's Ice Cream and just walked around downtown for a little bit. We lucked out. We got the perfect parking spot for free. I have to tell you, gotta go on weekdays because nothing is as crowded as everybody says it's going to be online when you're there on, you know, a Wednesday morning or a Thursday evening. So that was really nice. So I promised I would share with you a quick haul of what I got on our trip. And the first thing is this cute t-shirt. It says Great Smoky Mountains. It's kind of a vintage style print. This is from that little store I was telling you about in Knoxville called Nothing Too Fancy. And I had wanted to get kind of a vintage style Smoky Mountain shirt when we were at the gift shop in Gatlinburg, but the gift shop was not air conditioned, and being that it was super hot out and our kids were over it, we did not linger in that gift shop. So I was so happy that I stumbled across this place and got this shirt. It is so comfortable. Like, it feels kind of soft and worn in already, and I just love the print. So that's my little t-shirt. To be honest, I am not much of a shopper, but whenever I go somewhere new, sometimes it's nice to pick up a little souvenir. So I have a couple other things over here. The last three things are actually from the gift shop at the Loveless Cafe. So I got this Nashville ornament. First of all, my husband loves playing guitar, so I thought it was cool that there was a guitar on there, and it's in the shape of a guitar pick. Plus, it just documents our trip to Nashville, and we have a very large Christmas tree ornament collection that I love, so I thought it would be nice to add to it from our travels, because this was a trip where we went somewhere totally new that we'd never been before, so we wanted to commemorate that. I also bought this blackberry barbecue sauce from the Loveless Cafe. I've heard great things about this. I bought some pork ribs that I'm going to make this week and test out the sauce, so I'll have to let you know how that is. But I'm super excited to try it. And then lastly, I bought this candle that is called Yay Butter, which couldn't be more appropriate for me. It smells like butter, but also with a hint of icing, so kind of like the most scrumptious buttercream icing you've ever smelled. I maybe buy one candle every 3 or 4 years. I am not a candle buyer or burner, but every once in a while there's just a scent that grabs me, and it was just something special. Maybe you can find other candles that smell similar, but I was in the moment at the Loveless Cafe and I sniffed it and I thought I had to have it. So I wish you could smell it, because it smells like butter and sugar and, well, my two favorite things. Thank you so much for joining me to hear a little bit about our family vacation. It was really fun. I love to plan. The two things I love reading most are itineraries and menus. So I love planning trips, and I hadn't planned it down to the minute, but there were a lot of things on here that I had anticipated doing, and they ended up being a total success and a total delicious experience. So I was really happy with our trip.